Hello, everybody. It's a waterlogged Lisa and my tag team partner.
Hey, Lisa. Hi, everyone. It's Mike, your Astro Daddy, here for the Cancer New Moon Report. And it's a big one, Lisa.
I know, but we were just saying before we got on to record for you that it's like this Mercury in Cancer has been challenging for both of us. I'm an Aries, he's a Libra. We're just wading through the water here.
It's so
Uh,
true.
yeah.
It is so
So
true.
yes, again, we're not quite on time. We're taping this a day after, and my goal is to get it to you in the next day or two.
Yeah,
But it's just been a challenge.
it
But
really has been.
it's offering a lot. It really is. And we wanted to share that with you guys because this month is by far the most active month all year. This month offers an absolute potent month of transits. And this moon cycle in particular holds things that by themselves are unusual, but you get several of them stacked together. And it's like, now we're talking really, really long odds, that we would encounter this in anyone's lifetime.
Mm.
So we're through some very unprecedented time in history. You're making history. We're making history. So we wanted to share a little something that hopefully will help you walk through these big changes with a little more support. So,
Yeah. You
Mike,
know,
why don't you take it away? Yeah.
okay, thank you, Lisa. But the good news about this aspect that Lisa was referring to is it's a trine between Uranus and Pluto, which is great energy. And we also have Neptune with sextiling Pluto as well as Uranus. So these are some of the best energies of the zodiac can offer us. It's up to us which way we want to take them. And this Cancer new moon really kicks it off, which is really exciting because as we speak, Lisa, these planets, the Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, trine and sextile, it's in play. I mean, literally, we're only minutes away from them being perfected. But for all intents and purposes, this energy is with us right now and will be for this entire year. We're going to have another exact aspect between Pluto and Uranus coming up in November. So this energy is with us all year long.
And it really is helping usher in change. And just because I'm a little tired by all the change doesn't mean that I'm not excited because it really is this interesting tipping point in humanity. And we've talked about it for a while, about the fork in the road, love or fear. And this new moon is actually almost exactly within 1 degree opposite the Saturn Pluto conjunction of January 2020. And so it's one of these where we really are being asked to examine how well we're taking care of ourselves and who are the people we are caring for who are also caring for us as we walk into these unprecedented times of change.
Mm.
Remember, they don't have to be the same mind. In fact, contrast can really help us grow and evolve. But it does help if there's a shared value system, a shared integrity request. It's like what works. And by the way, this moon cycle holds, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I've been such a nut on this Jupiter and Leo opposite Pluto and Aquarius.
Hmm.
And Jupiter is going to be hanging out with the South Node for most of the next year because the South Node, I'll let you tell about that in a minute, getting into Leo, we're being asked to have a healthy ego, but it's really, really, really important for each one of us to see the price that is paid when a my way or the highway, or if it's good for me, it's good for everybody, what the cost of that will be. Pluto and Aquarius, it's like, wow, there are consequences coming for people who've rigged the game so that they could stay in a place where they benefit at the cost of others.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah. And so that's a kind of a cautionary tale for each one of us.
Yep.
And yet we can't just sit and feel beleaguered. It's up to us. to learn how to ask for what we truly want and need, and ask for it in a way that's more likely to be heard. You don't have to do it perfectly. It
Hmm.
is not about doing it perfectly, but you have to, at least make an attempt to ask for it in a way that can be heard. And then if it's not heard and met, you need to start considering that you might be in the wrong place. Okay, so with Uranus in Gemini,
Hmm.
sextile at Jupiter and Leo, well, guess what? You're going to have ideas much, it's like, please, Uranus in Gemini, there's no shortage of ideas. Some are human, some are divine. The human is the power over, the divine is the everybody can win. And how do we do that innovatively, right?
Hmm.
But well, I don't want to get too ahead of us. We've got quite a week. Do you want to kind of give
Yeah.
the timeline?
Yeah, for sure. I thought about the 2 week thematic progression. So the next 2 weeks from the 14th, which is
Mhm.
the Cancer new moon, all the way to the 29th, Lisa, the Aquarius full moon. Those 2 weeks in July are going to feel so different. The first week versus the second week, once the sun rolls into Leo, our whole mood changes and so forth. And we'll get into that. But I wanted to kind of start with the Cancer new moon. And as I've mentioned so many times before, new moons are when we plant the seed. And so again, you have to find where Cancer is in your natal birth chart and to see where all the action is for what you need to kick off and where the action is going to be in that particular house. Then that's on the 14th. Then on the 18th is we have the official Uranus Pluto trine. This has not happened, Lisa, since 1922. So we're talking a long time,
Long way back.
a long way back, 104 years. So, and that means deeper transformation begins. Again, Pluto is the great transformer, and with it trining Uranus, which is about lightning change, that just sets the stage then for that Jupiter you were talking about, that Jupiter opposition to Pluto, which is when we have that power dynamics, your relationship with power between yourself and the community, the whole. Then on the 21st, the breakthrough arrives. That's when we have the Jupiter sextile Uranus. So after after what we've been through for that couple days, then on the 21st is when the light bulb goes off, and all of a sudden it's grand because when those two are sextiling, that's energy for us to expand in a unique way. And then finally we have Leo season begins on the 22nd, which again brings in that new type of energy that we're going to be feeling completely different from the first week. Then, of course, and thank goodness, Mercury goes direct on the 23rd, and it couldn't come at a better time. Finally, on the 26th, we're moving into a karmic pivot, which means the South Node is finally exiting Virgo and moving into Leo. And we'll talk about that. And then finally, we get to the 29th, which is the culmination, the Aquarius full moon. So these next 2 weeks are going to be chock block with a lot of energy and a lot of different kind of energy too.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things, we're not going to go into it here. There's a lot of really good videos out there, but there's the Barbo's Cradle, which, Mike is going to make sure and put, some information so you can look it up if you want. But that's a very unusual configuration. And when Mike said about the karmic pivot, that's one of the things it literally is like, this week and next week, the Cancer energy of this week and the Leo energy of next week, it's literally like rocking the cradle. It's the beginning of, the new earth or the end of the beginning. In some cases, it's like, no, we've been in it possibly since January of 2020.
Mm.
But the bottom line is that rocking back and forth between the old and the new, it's like give yourself a chance to let the new come out with those nodal shifts. And one of the things that helps that is this new moon in Cancer, which is all about home, family, nurturing, and mothering. we also have something called a yod. It's a fairly unusual transit, and it has to do with we've got Neptune and Pluto who are in a sextile, all right? And then the midpoint between that sextile, exactly opposite that, is Venus in Virgo.
Hmm.
And that is, they call that in I believe the Arabic culture calls the yod the finger of God.
Hmm.
It's literally, and in some cases they say it's a last chance lifetime kind of thing. So it's one of these where we have to get this lesson in order to shift and make this pivot. And it may take a little bit of time. We may rock back and forth a little bit, nurture the place inside of you that wants to stay with the familiar or the comfortable. But Venus is our desire nature. It's in its fall in Virgo, but
Hmm.
Virgo is the body. So one of the things that when I did my research on this with our Aries and Aquarius, it's one of these where our desires are meant to benefit both us and the world around us. It's part of how you bring your unique self. I've touched on this before. This is not new information, but the yod dials up the pressure and it says, you really need to find your joy and you need to find who plays with that joy. It's like, who wants to play in that playground with you? Because your joy lights you up. And if you are abdicating your joy in order to make everybody else happy, or even one other person or two other people happy, it's sucking the life out of you.
Hmm.
If you are imposing your desires on other people with a certain amount of contempt for them because they're not going after what they want, it's also sucking the life out of you. So between that too little Venus, too much Venus in Virgo, there's your Goldilocks moment. What lights you up and who lights up with you when you're there? And if you find that, that's the karmic pivot point.
Hmm.
Look for that more. And the caveat to that, what I will say is it absolutely requires strategic rest, the fine art of doing nothing and giving everything a chance that to settle in you. You're walking through unprecedented times. Give it a chance to settle in. Your body needs a little bit slower timeline than all this airy Pluto and Aquarius, Uranus and Gemini. And now we're going to have Jupiter and Leo, fire and air. It's like, let your body catch up. Let your body catch up.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh,
Touche. Good stuff. I think we should talk about this transformation that gains momentum on the 18th, that Uranus, because it perfects on the 18th, which
okay.
is the Uranus Pluto trine. This is going to be an opportunity for us to really take that different path, which you were saying, get out of your comfort zone, right? This energy is allowing that to happen, especially because it is a trine and it's the easiest energy in the zodiac. So this is allowing us to have the courage, especially with Jupiter involved, especially with Neptune in Aries, because Neptune is also sextiling both Pluto as well as Uranus, to take the path less taken, or it gives us the courage to expand into out of our comfort zone and into that new space that you were referring to.
I would even say it's expand out of our security zone because this configuration may make it less comfortable and
Mhm.
therefore easier to take a path less, taken or being, inspired by an idea. And there's a couple places where even this last week, I jumped in on a conversation and then Venus and Virgo beat myself up because it's like, well, should I have said that now? And it's one of these where I was laughing because I know the transits and I'm going, okay, inner critic, thanks for sharing. Here's some milk and cookies. Take a seat. I did it was an innocent excitement that had me jumping in on the conversation. And if they're my people, it'll be welcome. And if they're not, good to know.
Yeah.
But we're all hardwired to want to belong. And that Cancer, it's like, are they going to like me? Kind of thing. And it's just like, it's ridiculous, but we feel it at any age. and it's just
It's
like,
true.
oh, I like me. And I like that I was excited. And I like that I jumped in. And if somebody wanted me to restrain myself, they could speak up and I could, take a pause the next time. But maybe it was just fine the way it was. So
Hmm.
that's the kind of thing where it's like out of your security zone, but naturally, I just did it. But there's a difference between an honest sharing and impulse management. Because what I will say with the South Node there, impulse, you want to be careful to just give in to whatever impulse runs its way through your mind. I have an intention that I set every day that is for my highest and best good with harm to none. So it's like, I want to honor my impulses, but I want to do it in a way that's for my highest and best good and not just a selfish expression of my impulse. So it's like, for me, that feels like both honoring myself and honoring other people. And that's part of that evolutionary dance that I think we're all in right now.
Hmm.
Like if you start with the intention, it feels like a backbone, like a string running down the center of me that it helps me hang on to, still allows me to be the individual and at the same time consider other people.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
like that's a place where I think we're kind of feeling our way. Uranus is the lightning strike that turns on the understanding, but then it can go dark again. And so it's like we're just kind of feeling our way in the dark, hopefully holding hands with other good people.
Yeah,
So,
and and at least on the 20th
mhm.
is when that we have that Pluto Jupiter opposition, and that's exactly what you were saying. It's going to delineate where we're going to go. It's about power, and it's about power to the community or power within ourselves, and that's what we got to choose. I want our friends out there to choose the community because with Pluto in Aquarius, it's all about power to the people, as in power, collective power to everyone as a whole, not individual power. And that's the
It,
struggle we're going to be going through with that opposition.
absolutely. And consider the community. It's not only the community, but it's absolutely, you got to consider the community, or Saturn in Aries can slap you around. And because
Hmm.
I'm an Aries and Saturn's in Aries, that's why I was second guessing myself. But I like that I second guessed myself,
Hmm.
because it's like, as long as I'm checking,
Hmm.
like, okay, I'll circle back around and I'll happily make adjustments if I jumped in too soon.
Hmm.
But, it's like, again, you've got to consider the community
Yeah.
and you still have to contribute yourself.
It's an
So it's,
ego. It's an ego check, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's back to rocking that cradle, Barbo's cradle. It's like self others,
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
how are we considering both in a way that works, that comforts us and comforts others,
Hmm.
and offers grace. If somebody else is perhaps on, part of the group I was on, there was somebody who was on a tangent, and I offered a contrasting point of view. And
Hmm.
that's where I'm going, well, maybe I should have let them finish their tangent before I jumped in with my contrasting point of view. But the bottom line is, it's like, no, I was just offering my point of view, and maybe it all evens out in the wash. And right before I came on here, somebody's, got back on, and it's like it actually did help them kind of land something. So I'm going, oh, good. Considering I offered authentically, considered the rest, and it all lands because there's a feeling behind it. When you're considering other people, I have a sense that most people, unless they're really in trauma, mode, most people can sense that there's opportunity for a conversation if there's a course correction that's needed. So it's like back to the authentic ask. So and that is, I would say, with this Mercury retrograde in Cancer, I have never seen more need for healthy conversation around how to do conflict resolution.
Hmm.
Because most of us are just sick of the fight.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah, but how do we evolve out of it? We do it with healthy conflict resolution. I'm a big believer in nonviolent communication. I can't, Rosenberg, I think is his name. And there's all kinds of videos on YouTube. It's like nonviolent communication. Just maintains respect for everybody.
Hmm.
Start with yourself.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah.
So we have one of this year's most exciting aspects happening again. We mentioned a bunch of exciting aspects, but
So exciting.
this one is a big one. It's breakthroughs and big fortunes on the 21st of July, and that's the Jupiter sextile Uranus, Uranus in Gemini and Jupiter in Leo. This is one of the year's most exciting aspects because it's going to give way to innovation, opportunity, liberation, and unexpected success, especially with Jupiter involved. So stay flexible. Surprises may work to your favor. That's the breakthrough,
Yeah, and Jupiter in Leo, opposite Pluto and Aquarius, just before that breakthrough.
right?
One of these where you can start to see you just being you does put you center stage in the best possible way at the best possible time with the best possible people. You don't have to effort for it other than just recognize it and move in that direction.
Mm. Mm.
Whereas a trine, you're almost on, you're already on that path and you just roll into it. The sextile does require you at least accept the invitation.
True. Yes. It's there for
So,
you. It's there for
yeah,
you.
and it's so easy and it's a shortcut. It's only two. It's like, oh, it's just, a trine is a little bit further distance, but you're already on a greased path. With a sextile, it's a shorter distance, but you have to accept the invitation and step in that direction. So be you and be the most mindful you and step into the spotlight that's theirs for you, that has always been there for you. And now you get to see how good it feels and how much fun it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, the next day begins that Leo season begins on the 22nd. Sun moves into Leo, and it's going to feel like a completely different week from the first week of this Cancer new moon. And so get ready for 4 weeks of creativity and confidence, joy, romance, courageous self-expression. That's Leo, and that's the sun in Leo.
I love that. And, you know, again, the sun and Jupiter there is going to make it so much easier for you to just shine being you.
Yeah.
And those who've been more hesitant to step into their spotlight, it's going to give you a nudge,
Yep.
and for those who have no problem there, there's the hip check of you're going to have to oppose Pluto. So you're just going to have to make sure that you're willing to share the spotlight with everybody else.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
That's a
but
good call.
but that's only going to work to your favor because the more you're willing to share the spotlight, the more they're happy to have you be in yours when it's your turn. So yeah, everybody wins.
So this is what I'm excited about. On the next day, so after the sun rolls into Leo, the next day, and I'm happy to announce Mercury goes direct. It's been a challenge, but with Mercury going direct, it's clarity in communications, travel, contracts, decisions, and projects that have been under review. We can move forward again.
I love that. I'll be very grateful for that. This is
I
a
know, me too.
Mercury retrograde in Cancer in my house of communication. So as you can imagine, there's been a few challenges. So like
However,
results getting out late.
right, I was going to say with Mercury going direct, but then we have Saturn going retrograde on the 26th. So while the North Node also changes signs at the same time, so this is the North and South Node. North Node going into Aquarius and the South Node going into Leo. This is a karmic turning point, Lisa.
What's what I find fascinating about this is that when the South Node moves into Leo, it is going to be within 2 degrees of the King star, Rigel. So that is the place where, again, the South Node dials down. It's the place where there's a release of, and it's basically our our ego is going to have no choice but to find a healthier expression, one that serves the greater good. So too much ego or too little ego with that Rigel, it's like too little ego, you're going to start to see where your desires and your contribution are actually a noble part of the greater good.
Mm,
Okay. And if you've been out of balance, the universe doesn't want you because it sucks the life out of you too. If you're throwing too much ego around, it just may be a little more uncomfortable for you because it's harder to go from much to less, but the bottom line is it's actually going to give you greater quality, maybe less quantity, which globally, just remember, this is the time when the French Revolution, it's like they stormed the Bastille
hmm.
with the transits. It was almost, they're not in the exact same place, but they're in the same signs.
That's right.
Because the peasants were going, you don't get to rig the game so that you have everything and we have nothing.
That's right.
And so it's really a time of reckoning for those who have unnecessarily and unfairly skewed the system in their favor.
That's
It's
right.
like, it's just not going to stand. It's like, no, sorry, it's got to be more level.
Yeah. And I think all of us are ready for that change too.
I think globally. Mhm.
And Lisa, that was 1789, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius during that French Revolution, over 230 odd years ago. And here it comes again, all over.
Absolutely. So again, we don't necessarily need to storm the Bastille this time. We just need to say absolutely not. It needs to be fair.
Right. It doesn't repeat, but it
Yeah,
does rhyme.
yeah, exactly.
I was gonna
So
say, finally, that brings us to the full moon in Aquarius. So there's a lot of action going on in Aquarius, Lisa, especially with the South Node, especially with the North Node ultimately meeting up with Pluto in sometime next year or later this year. So we have this Aquarius full moon happening on the 29th. And that's a real exciting full moon I want to add. And I'm not going to get into it now, but we can just let our friends know that stay tuned for our next podcast on that one.
oh, I was going to say, I don't think my nervous system can handle talking about it just yet. That one's fully loaded.
It
It's
is.
good, it's big, and it's a lot. And it's again, it brings up the caboose and what a caboose it'll be, for these big changes. But we've given you a lot to chew on the next couple of weeks. So we'll leave it with you there. And as always, thank you so much for joining us to talk about what we love. I'm Lisa with Truth in Hand.
Hey, I'm Mike, your Astro Daddy. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.